not do that. Right? Even for your own benefit. Who will want to go to prison? Who will want to take the mother to prison? Right? A sensible person will never do that. But that person did it. What made him to do it? The self-centered attitude. That gave him the false courage. That gave him the blind courage. Blind courage. So therefore, anger, driven by the self-centered attitude, this anger is not a sign of strength. It is a sign of weakness. Anger is a sign of weakness. Right? If you chase a dog, dog will keep running away, keep running away. When the dog is cornered, what will the dog do? Dog will attack you. Because the dog is desperate. Not because the dog feels the strength. Simply because the dog feels the vulnerability. Dog feels the vulnerability, there's no choice other than to attack. Right? He may kill me, but I have this only choice. So the dog attacks you. So anger is like the dog attacking the other person. So this anger is nothing but a sign of weakness. Only weak people will resort to anger. Right? The real strong people, they will not resort to anger. They will resort to reasonings and compassion. Some of the purpose is what? The purpose is that problems should solve. And the real problem will be solved with love, affection and confidence, not out of anger. Anger will only aggravate the problems. Even within the family members. Even within the family members, when there's anger there, both sides will, both sides will keep escalating. And finally, whole family, the peace is disrupted. Whereas, while the two family members, they are fighting, a third person who is more sensible, calm, right? What they do, they'll try to mellow both sides. Right? They will not say, oh yes, you're right. So the anger, or anger will resolve this problem. Have more anger. This is unwise. So anger is a sign of weakness. It is never a sign of strength. Finally, why do we have to be angry? See, in the first place, the best thing is what? With anger, problem should be solved. Does the problem get solved? The answer is no. While the problem is not solved, you are unhappy or happy with anger? Very unhappy. Very unhappy. Is this what you're looking for? No. So anger makes you unhappy. Anger makes even the possible solution coming about not to happen. That is the outcome of anger. So this is the legacy of anger, right? So we have to think about anger, about the weakness, the drawbacks of anger, the drawbacks of self-centered attitude more, right? How this self-centered attitude, this is the one which drives us into all this manifest suffering. All this manifest suffering, somehow they are connected with the self-centered attitude. One. Number two, which is so important, particularly for the clinical psychologists. Okay, how many of you want to act like a clinical psychologist to your family members when they go through difficulties, mental problems? Everyone, right? Everybody. Okay, Okay, say that when we go through pain, somebody insults you in public, right? Somebody insults you in public, and there was so much of, say, the agitation, irritation, sadness within you. Okay, even this sadness, because of the self-centered attitude, believe it or not. Say, you've been so kind to the other person, to your son, to your daughter, to your mother, to your father, and the result is that they insult you in public. Right? You feel so disheartened, so sad, acutely sad. Even the sadness because of the self-centered attitude. Believe it or not. Self-centered attitude plus self-grasping ignorance. These two are there. So conventionally, in the world, they will say that, no, it's not your mistake, it's the other side's mistake. Yes, conventionally, yes. But finally, whether it's mistake or not mistake, what's the problem? The problem is that they see this pain in you and you also see this pain. You don't want the pain. And this pain is, external factors there, but a self-centered attitude and self-grasping, if these two are not there, you don't feel the pain. Right? If somebody says, yes, if somebody says in public, somebody says, you're a stupid guy. And some people, they're very smart. It's amazing. Right? They say, yes, I'm very stupid. right? They are not affected, right? Finish. For example, at the time of Buddha, right? Buddha was giving teaching, and somebody who was jealous of Buddha came and insulted the Buddha in the public. Buddha remained, just stopped giving teachings and remained calm, right? Listen to the person. It's amazing, the power of silence. Let us not forget this, the power of silence. Just remain silent, right? Okay, when you remain silent, don't be too timid like this. Maintain self-confidence. Maintain self-confidence and remain silent. So a person said, you are this, you are fraud, you are this, you are this. Once, then it will finish. And if you don't reply, again he's to keep saying something. So he has no other point. What should we do? Repeat it. Whatever acquisition said before has to be repeated. 2 times repetition is fine. And again the Buddha did not reply. Said like this. Again it's so embarrassing to stop. Right? So he has to continue. 3rd repetition is very unpleasant. And then he felt that now I have no point to say. Right? He felt so embarrassed. And he felt, let's say, the breathing very heavily in the end. And he stopped and the Buddha said, you are done now? Then he has to say yes. This is amazing. Whereas if you say that prove that, you know, like this, then he will have more thoughts. You're feeding his thoughts, and he will have more thoughts. Then we'll just, this is just, okay, try this at home. Try this at home. Try this, just try this. At home, if there's a problem like this, don't lose your self-confidence, maintain the self-confidence. Let the other person speak, right? Accuse you, right? Accuse you. And don't say anything, good, bad, nothing, don't say anything. Okay, Shubhamji is pointing to Sureshji. Okay, don't say anything, good, bad. Okay, don't even say that. Some people, they go to the other extreme. They say, okay, say more, tell more, say more, say more. No, don't even say that, right? If you're happy, say more, right? Don't even say that, just remain calm, self-confident, and keep listening, right? If you don't have time, then say, just don't say anything, just ignore, as though like you have not heard it, you do your job and leave for your work.
But you are not saying anything. But you are not saying anything.
No, what I'm saying, if you have time, if it happens to be Sunday, right, then keep listening. Keep listening, right? Don't say anything. Keep listening, the person will repeat it. And the person at the worst, the person may say that you are like a dump, not saying anything. Remain dumb, don't say anything. And then the person will repeat it 2 times, 3 times. 100% the person will stop.
That makes me more angry.
Yes. So, angry and what? Angry and a little embarrassed, right? Angry, next time you will be hesitant to say. If I say this, again he will not reply anything, right? And then I don't want to be embarrassed in the end. So you stop saying this. So this is how it helps. It's amazing. You're getting it? Okay, so the point is the demerits of cherishing the self. Cherishing, the point is that, okay, self-cherishing, self-centered attitude, these two together, anxiety, stress, sadness, pain of sadness, all these things arise because of these two. You're getting it? Okay, these two together, these two are so vicious in nature. These two, self-centered attitude, self-grasping, these two are so vicious. In what way these two are vicious? That all these problems, so for example, if you release the arrow from here, right? So arrow will fly in the air and then hit the target, right? So this arrow movement and hitting the target was all because started by you pulling the arrow. You're getting it? So the initial, this arrow, all this movement episode was happened because of you pulling the arrow. and then it actually hits the target, right? So the movement arrow is an analogy for the karmic operation. Movement of the arrow, right? What pulls the arrow was this self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude. These two initially triggered the karma. Then this karma starts operating and hits the target. Hits the target meaning you experience the pain. You experience the undesirable results. Whatever undesirable results that we go through, whatever dissatisfaction that we go through, right? They are all nothing but the results of the karmic arrow. Okay, now this karmic arrow hits you and the undesirable results come to being and they manifest in the form of pain. So in order for this karmic arrow to hit you and to manifest through pain, karmic arrow can hit, but if you don't have the self-grasping, ignorance, self-centered attitude at that point, at the result state, it will not manifest in the form of pain. You're getting it? It will not manifest in the form. Say unfortunate things can happen, but you will not have the pain. You're getting it? For example, let's say some kind of tragedy. Your house can be burned, right? But mental disturbance will not happen to you, right? Many tragedies can happen to you, but these tragedies are the outcome of the karmic arrow hitting you. And then karmic arrow, while it hits you, unfortunate things happen. But along with the unfortunate things, what happened? Mental pain, mental agitation, anger, depression, stress, these things happen. So these things are the direct outcome of the self-grasping, ignorance, self-centered attitude acting on you. Right? Okay. So for that, how do we know that these two things are operating on me when I feel the pain? How do we know that? Okay. For that matter, if you have a glimpse of emptiness, right? When this unfortunate things happen, you meditate emptiness. Say earlier, for example, let's say feeling of sadness, acute feeling of sadness. What is that like? Can somebody express what that feeling is like? Acute feeling of sadness, acute feeling of, say, the feeling of loss, the pain of losing near and dear ones, acute feeling of pain of losing near and dear ones. Can you describe that in terms of feeling? What kind of feeling? Heaviness. As though like something is dragging you, have no energy, right? Something very heavy inside is dragging you. And what else? No?
It's depressing.
Very depressing. Okay. So these things happen, how do we know that self-grasping and self-centered attitude, these two are acting there to make this manifest? So at that point, whatever little experience or emptiness that you have, you just sit down and do the meditation on emptiness to see how this pain is like a dream. The moment you get it, the moment you get a glimpse of this, instantly the heaviness will disappear. Which means the factor, while the pain is felt, that factor is removed by the wisdom of emptiness. So what is that factor which is removed by the wisdom of emptiness? Self-grasping ignorance. This is how we can very clearly see that the self-grasping ignorance is acting on this. One. Then number two, when you're going through this, and if you have the little experience of bodhicitta, unconditional love for others, when you have little experience with that, then say you can think about the bodhicitta. The moment a glimpse of experience of bodhicitta comes to you, instantly again the heaviness will dissolve. So there we see that self-centered attitude must have been active to make this pain. You getting it? Okay, so this is, so to get to this level, of experience, we need to have little understanding, little practice of the wisdom of emptiness, little practice of the bodhicitta. You getting it? Okay, first let me complete this. Okay, now, whereas the examples which I am expecting from each one of us tomorrow, anecdotes. So that is more related to the conventional world's understanding. How the self-centered attitude, if our thinking is a little better, rather than very selfish, right? selfish, then such a big outcome would not have happened, right? Okay, so these I'm expecting that from the point of view of the mundane world's perspective, how the self-centered attitude drives us into miseries. Whereas what I'm saying now, self-centered attitude, self-grasping ignorance, these two, any time you feel pain, you see that actually, even from the point of view of the conventional world, that it is not your mistake at all. It's purely the other side's mistake. Still, the self-centered attitude, self-grasping, these two are acting in our mind to create this, attract this pain. So this is what I'm saying. So two things are there to reflect on, right? Okay, one. Then the another thing that what we seek, okay, this is very important. What we seek is we seek wealth. So this is more from the karmic point of view. What we seek is we seek wealth. What we seek is we seek, say, the favorable birth. What we seek is we seek, say, the radiance of our presence, radiance. And what we seek is we seek the elegance of our appearance, elegance. And what we seek the peace of mind. We seek the intelligence, so forth. Okay, so all these things, they are the results of the cherished mind. For example, say the wealth is the result of generosity. And what stops you from generosity? Selfishness. Selfishness stops you from generosity. Because you don't engage in generosity, the wealth does not come. Number one. So number two, say favorable births and good health and so forth. These are the results of refraining from harming others. What makes you not refrain from harming others? Is because of this selfishness. Right? So selfishness makes you to harm others. Makes you to harm others. By harming others, the outcome is that the longevity is missing. Then the unfavorable births, ill health, all these things are the outcome of, say, the harming others. And so these harming others come into being because of the self-centered attitude. And then some people, they have the radiance. Did you notice that? Some people, they have the radiance. Even ordinary people. Some people have the radiance. Radiance also means the rays of, like this. You just, from distance, you see that this person is outstanding. For example, I remember one of my teachers, right, whose name often comes here. He is very special. He was very special. If you meet him in his hermitage, just a single monk. When you see him amidst others in the town or in the temple, he just comes out radiant. Just very special. And I thought that is because of my biased thinking. He's my, because I love him so much, my teacher. And later on, all my friends saying that, who's this monk? He's very special. This is what everybody says it. Okay, so that is the radiance. That radiance is because of the practice of the patience. Practice of patience. Right? Then, some people, they have the richness in the elegance. Appearance-wise, there's the richness of the elegance. Richness of elegance. And richness of elegance is the result of practice of enthusiasm. Right? See, with the virtue, enthusiasm to do virtue, finding joy in doing virtue. Right? With the virtue, you don't feel tired. There's enthusiasm coming. So that gives us the appearance of the richness, appearance of the elegance. Okay, so what makes us not to engage in the virtue? Okay, go to help this person. There's such joy wanting to go to help the person. Oh no, why should I help? Again, he'll tell us to go to help that person. Right? So because you don't love the person. Right? What makes you not love the person? Self-centered attitude. I will be tired. Who will take care of me? All these questions will come to you. Right? So this is because self-centered attitude. Self-centered attitude stops you from practicing enthusiasm, because of which you don't have the elegance. So while we want elegance, but this self-centered attitude stops us from having the elegance. So we see that, so in the end, Arindagajan said that with the sense of love and affection, right, with a sense of loving kindness, all good qualities will be attracted. All these good qualities mentioned earlier, say the wealth, good health, longevity, radiance, elegance, all these will be attracted by the loving kindness, quality of the loving kindness towards others. So loving kindness is possible only with others. Only others are there, then the loving kindness, you can practice loving kindness. You're getting it? For example, only if, okay, this is very interesting. So in fact, it was, I think 5 or 6 years ago, when I was doing my personal retreat in Dehradun, one very beautiful place. So there, in Delhi, this is one very unfortunate thing. So in that place, say, I was doing my own cooking, right? By myself, doing the retreat. And then even the peel of the onion peel, anything, they don't go waste. Everything I put in a separate bag, and then in the end, maybe after 2 days, then say some fresh cabbage, I chop them, mixed with the garbage, not really garbage, the wet garbage with, and then put some salt in it, mix them so well, and then go to give to the cows there. The cows love it, right? So nothing really go waste. In Delhi, even a proper food also go waste, because there's no way to go to give these things. So what I'm saying is that when I see those things, and then when I see so many things go waste in Delhi, I say that just the feeling of the vacuum, that I want to give this, I don't want to make this go waste, I want to make somebody be benefited out of this. You cannot do anything. So then I realize it is how kind these poor animals are that I'm able to practice love and affection towards them, right? So even for one to practice love and affection, it is only if they are there, then you can practice it. If they are not there, you cannot practice it. So it's only by realizing that because of their presence, that I can practice the love and affection. And finally, even to become Buddha, without the practice of love and affection, without the practice of Bodhichitta, you cannot become a Buddha, right? You cannot become a Buddha. So, in fact, these are the other beings. They are the ones who are actually giving me the opportunity to practice compassion, giving me the opportunity to practice love and loving kindness, so that eventually I can become Buddha, so that I will not have to suffer anymore. So they are making me not to suffer. It's amazing, so kind, right? So this is how we are to meditate on reflecting on the merits of cherishing others. Okay, what? Generosity gives rise to wealth. So generosity is there only if the beneficiary is there. Only if the beneficiary is there, you can be generous. Otherwise, without the beneficiary who receives the benefit, without them, you cannot practice generosity. You're getting it? So generosity gives rise to the wealth. And then the ethical discipline of not harming others, refraining from harming others, they give rise to the longevity, good health, and so forth, and favorable birth, and so forth. Then the radiance will be given rise to by practice of patience. Then the elegance will be given rise to by the practice of enthusiasm. You're getting it? And then the samadhi, single-pointed meditation samadhi, will give rise to the peace. And the wisdom will free you from suffering. Right? Okay. So in all these cases, without the involvement of the other beings, you cannot practice these. You cannot practice. For example, say the patience. Patience give what? Elegance.
No, radiance.
Radiance. Right? Patience gives radiance. Okay, patience gives radiance. First, generosity to wealth. Then number two, ethical discipline of refraining from harming others will give rise to longevity, good health, and so forth. Then the patience will give rise to radiance, enthusiasm will give rise to elegance, and then the samadhi, single point of meditation, will give rise to peace, and the wisdom will give rise to liberation from samsara. Okay, so we see that in all these cases, other beings are involved. Other beings, particularly, let's say, patience. For the patience, tell me, a patience, when does patience make sense? Patience makes sense. Huh? When you are in a difficult situation, you try this and it's not happening, you lose patience. Right? Okay. And then say you try to be kind to somebody, and that person, right, say misunderstands you, and the person tries to again harm you instead of help you, instead of repaying your kindness, the person harms you, then you lose patience, right? Lose patience. So, without patience, what will not happen? Radiance will not happen. What do you want? You want radiance without radiance. You want radiance. If you want radiance, this is the only way. Practice of patience. Practice of patience, only way. Right? So practice of patience is possible only if somebody else, create nuisance on you. Right? Only then the patience makes sense. Right? Okay. So therefore, the moment somebody is creating nuisance on you, right? Instead of reacting, think of, oh, now this person is the one who gives me the radiance. Right? Radiance and practice patience. It's amazing. So what's the opposite of patience? Hey, what's the opposite of patience? Impatience, anger, you getting it? So when you lose patience, how do you react? Irritated, anger. Okay, anger is
agitation.
Okay, in some cases anxiety, right? Anxiety. Okay. These experiences are the sign of
Affliction.
are the sign of weakness. When the anger arises, you get a feeling that I'm very courageous, I'm very strong. When the anger arises, you dare to say what otherwise you would not say. You dare to do things which otherwise you would not do. You're getting it? Okay, so with anger, we see that it gives you a false strength. That is nothing but a sign of weakness. It's a total sign of weakness. Right? Say, okay, tell me, if there are 100 people, 100 ordinary people, and then say if somebody shouts at them, scold them, right? Okay, what do you think would be the reaction of the majority? Patience or shouting back to you? Okay, shouting back is coming out of anger, agitation. So this agitation is which is a very easy tendency. Whereas which is more difficult, right? Somebody shouts at you and then you don't shout, you just maintain the calmness. That is more difficult, or shout back, which is more difficult? Maintain calm is more difficult. So somebody who can do that, that is the courageous person, that is a strong person. It's very difficult to do it. Just to shout back, it's not like you have a very, the strength. This is false strength. It's not a strength. It's a weakness. Everybody can do it. Even the dog can do it. Right? Even ordinary dog can do it. You beat the dog, dog will bite at you. right? This is what the dog can do. So what a dog can do, human being does. There's nothing, unique there. We as a human being, if you really want to display the smartness, and then sometimes when we fight, we say that you think that you're smart. I'm equally smart. You're not smart actually. If you're really smart, if you're really smart, don't say that I'm smart. Prove that you're smart, right? How to prove that you're smart? What actually both of you will end up into fist fight? Let it not happen. That is the smartness, right? You think that you're smart. I'm equally smart. Then others say, you're smart, let's see. And then don't start fighting. Both are stupid. Right? If you really want to prove yourself smart, what otherwise the negative consequences, right? What negative consequences otherwise would happen, let them not happen. That is the smartness. Right? This is out of 100 people, only 1 or 2 can do it. 99% will easily slide down to fist fight. You getting it? Okay, so this all happened because of what? Because of self-centered attitude. Right? Think more on these reflections. Okay, so now once you think on this direction, the opposite of that is the reflection on the merits, reflection on the merits of cherishing others. Opposite. And don't go for shortcut. You first do the reflect on the demerits of cherishing oneself, and the opposite is the one, and then you switch to the next. Don't do that, right? So the point is not that you have to finish this. The point is not that you have to recite all these things. The point is experience should be felt, right? As you do them very systematically by spending time, what happens is that the self-centered attitude, the knots, are constantly being untangled. That is what is happening, and you could feel it. Right? Okay. You wouldn't believe. After my high school, when I first joined the Institute of Buddhist Dialectics, right? In my life, particularly when I was young, like from age 5, 6, there, say I could remember, but when I was very young, maybe age 5, I could remember so for many years, it just went away from my mind. Otherwise, when I was very young, age 5, 6, there was the girl who was maybe 10, 11, 12, right? In the school, the elder girls, meaning age 10, they were given the responsibility to take care of the younger boys and girls, right? And this girl was just, I can't really stand this girl. This girl, right? So I was just 5 years old, and she would just, I don't know what she was doing. Scolding, just traumatizing me. The moment I see this girl, I freeze. Literally, I start freezing. Mentally, I freeze. Right? So corrosive feeling. And luckily, it was maybe for about like 1 year, then finished. But that memory remained so deeply ingrained, and then for many years, it disappeared. Okay. Then there was another person. Right? Another person. Terrible. And I was also terrible myself. Not only that person, right? When I was young, class 7, class 8, 9, there was one person. Don't ask me who that is. Terrible, terrible. So much of anger inside me. And this person is not just with me, with everyone around. Just creating nuisance to everyone around. This young boy, so much of anger towards that person. And then ended up, after class 12, entered in the Institute of Buddhist Dialectics and studied Bodhichitta, right? The reflection on the merits of the others. Okay, may I become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. All these things then come to play. And then, although it was not my subject then, so that was to be studied and practiced after, I think, on the 4th year. But I was so keen to learn this, know this, practice this. Right from day one, I joined the institute. And then I was doing this practice on my own, right? all these learning what the 9 steps are, the 7 steps are, although they were supposed to be that we should be learning them much later, after 3 or 4 years. But then I was just doing all these things on my own, and then actually practicing them. And then, so when it finally comes to the point number 7, point number 9, Bodhichitta, may I become Buddha for the better of sentient beings. The moment this person comes to my thought, it simply disrupts everything. It simply spoils everything, right? Then, may I become Buddha for the better of sentient beings. Except for this person. Except for this person. Yeah, it is coming. Except for this person, right? The moment I say except for this person, this is not bodhicitta. Right? This is not bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is the one which embraces everyone equally. Right? And you said the exception. The moment the exception, the lost who lost, I'm lost. This person even does not know whether I'm doing this or not doing. This person, there is no loss on that person. The person who lost something is me. Because I'm spending so much of time on this, my youth on this, and finally I get 0. My bodhicitta becomes 0. Because I accept this person. The moment I accept this person, there is no bodhicitta. So what have you been meditating? Right? So here, it was such a struggle. It was such a struggle. You're getting it? Struggle. And it's not difficult. It's not easy. It's not easy. So there, the moment this person comes to the mind, then you could feel the knot. Very strong knot there. Literally, you could feel the knot there. Right? And for me, it took me many years for this knot to disappear. It is only through practice. I'm saying this again. Without practicing bodhicitta, this knot will forever remain. Even if you may meditate wisdom of emptiness, you may meditate on the, for example, some practices of the visualizing Buddha, awareness meditation, whatever, say the chakras, whatever meditation that you do, this knot will be intact. Self-centered attitude knot will be intact unless you do the bodhicitta practice. This knot will remain intact, right? Whatever meditation that you do, whatever Buddhist meditation, non-Buddhist meditation, if you don't practice bodhicitta separately, this knot will not be untied, believe it or not. You getting it? So this is so important that, unfortunately, even today, we see that the bodhicitta practice, we hardly see people teaching this. We forget about people doing this practice. If a choice is given, do a practice in bodhicitta, or you want to do a practice on the awareness meditation. If I teach, if we have more time, I will teach you awareness meditation. And you will instantly be attracted towards awareness meditation. You will not do the bodhicitta practice. Guaranteed. And without this, whole purpose of awareness meditation is defeated without bodhicitta. You're getting it? So therefore, this is a very unfortunate story. And the popularity is with all other practices. For example, mindfulness meditation, awareness meditation, right? And any something which, where your mind still your mind, this is what people are attracted. Bodhicitta is far. Whereas, if you want to seek personal liberation, you accept it. Then you exempt it. No need to do bodhicitta practice. If you choose personal liberation, may I achieve enlightenment for myself. If this is your goal, 2 goals are there, right? Personal liberation, personal nirvana, and Buddhahood. If your goal is to pursue that path, then you don't have to practice bodhicitta. But which practice, which tradition is becoming popular in the world is the Tibetan Buddhism. That is becoming popular. That is purely minor practice, and the stem of this practice is bodhicitta. Yet that part is missing everywhere, unfortunately. And many people will be so much into the meditation emptiness. Right? Bodhicitta is missing. Right? And what kind of emptiness meditation? The personal liberation, the meditation, or the minor emptiness, minor meditation. Where's minor? The essence of the mind is missing. right? Bodhichitta is missing, unfortunately. So therefore, so what I always say is that you learn all these things: renunciation, bodhicitta, shamatha, emptiness. Learn all this form. Once you have this form, you can follow any tradition. Finally, it does not matter to count the number. Okay, I'm this follower. No, this is not the point. The point is that you should benefit it. That you should follow Gade, Parakate, Parasmriti. That should happen. For that matter, these four must be there. And as I said earlier, in terms of experience, renunciation, bodhicitta, particularly bodhicitta, is very difficult to feel and experience. Without practicing it, it will not happen. Right? Without exclusively meditating bodhicitta, we should not, it is illusion to think of, okay, just by meditating emptiness, it will automatically come in. Just by meditating awareness meditation, it will automatically come. Just by meditation this, that, and so forth, automatically it will come. It will not come automatically. Don't forget it. This requires a very separate meditation. And the experience, to get experience, is very demoralizing, is very disheartening. Experience-wise, sometimes you may reach to the point of saying that, okay, again you repeat the steps. Right? Okay, equalizing self and others. We all equal, wanting happiness, not one suffering. Reflect on the merits of cherishing oneself. Okay, with self-centered attitude, all means is attracted. Then slowly it becomes like a tape recorder being played. No experience coming in you. Right? Initially, it's very exciting. A little bit of experience, they come to you. You feel, oh, so good. Okay, if I continue to practice like this, for sure in about a year or 2 years' time, I will get bodhicitta, then I'll become a bodhisattva. I follow the gate, first gate. You could say, somebody you can calculate this. You can just say, you can the conjecture that this can happen. And then as you keep doing it, in terms of graph, it's like this, right? First you do meditation emptiness, meditation bodhicitta, say bodhicitta. First you see that it's a steep rise happens in terms of experience. Steep rise, right? Steep rise happens to the extent that it can even change the quality of your dream, right? It can even change the quality of your dream. You will have, as the Nariman just said, that now I'm having a very pleasant sleep, you know. So like that, your sleep you will have a very quality sleep. With this compassion practice, bodhicitta practice, high quality sleep, even the dreams are high quality. In the dreams, for example, you dream of meeting with His Holiness the Dalai Lama, right? And His Holiness giving you instructions. You will dream of these things. So this is what happens when you practice. When you actually meditate and practice on this, there's a steep rise like this. There's a steep rise. Then slowly it'll become steady, right? Flat. Then this is what is bound to happen to everyone. I'm saying this. Unless until you are somebody who attended Vajradhatu Bodhichitta Retreat in the past lives. Right? Unless you have attended these things in the past lives, or if we are all like me, beginners, this is what is bound to happen. Steep rise, flat, down. Then at that point, when it goes down, people give up. When it becomes flat, people discuss what's happening, now it's mechanical, right? They don't give up, but they talk about it. And then the moment it goes down, people give up. Don't give up. This is what happens to everybody. Even Buddha Shakyamuni, when he started this path, it went through the same fashion. Right? Down. Down, just don't give up. If possible, read the very standard books. Right? What kind of experiences were being shared there? Right? Particularly Lama Tsongkhapa's book, that is when you need this book. So there, then the point will be given, when you go through this, you are bound to face this difficulty. As though like he's seeing what you are going through. right? Under such situation, don't lose your what?
Enthusiasm.
Don't lose enthusiasm. Don't lose your patience. Don't be disheartened, right? Continue. So instead, so here something is missing. You have to bring in this additional point. So all these things we deliberately added from Lama Tsongkhapa's book. We added this in this book. It's there in this book, right? It is known as the summary of the Lamrim. Okay, page page 36. Not page 36. Sorry, the table of the content number 36, page 202. The new book, the summary of the stages of meditation. So that is like a mirror. When something is going wrong with you, when you don't progress any further, where am I going wrong? So this will serve as the mirror, right? So particularly Lama Tsongkhapa's the writings, they are so beneficial for somebody who's already fallen the path, and then you run into stagnation. When you run into stagnation, then where to go now, right? Then you read this book, you don't get answer. You read that book, you don't get answer. Oftentimes you even meet with teachers, you don't get answers. At that point, you read this book, you will get this answer there. You're getting it? This is so precious. Okay. So which step we are doing now? Third done, right? Step number 1, 2, 3. Okay. I think what we can do is this evening after tea break. What do you think? Tea break half an hour,
Yes.
and have the class.
Yes.
I think that's better.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Then we will. And so meanwhile, I say, except for Indrajit and Rahul, two of you, right? So the others, if you come faster, two of them, they have the responsibilities, right? Others, if you come faster, then we can begin, because we recite the Harsvata mantra many times, right? Not because it has to be said, we are waiting for people. You're getting it? Okay. So the point of what I'm saying is that we can set the time. We can set the time, and then, because there are many materials to be covered, right? We have now how many days? 3 more days. Today is 16th, 17th, 18th, and 3 more days, right? We have the emptiness to be covered, and then the bodhicitta, the 2 sides, and then the practical aspect of the thing. And if we still get time, meditation on the emptiness of the mind, emptiness of the pain. How many of you don't want the pain? How many of you want to meditate on the emptiness of the pain? If you're ready, when you go through difficult times, how to see the emptiness of the mind, how to see the emptiness of the pain, right? So, okay, if you get time, you will do it. Whereas if we have to recite Harsvata mantra 10, 20 times, we cannot do this, right? Okay, because I don't want to see that people miss these classes. If you miss, because within a short period of time, we are covering a lot of material. So if you miss some of the materials, then the parts that we are doing, that you are hearing later, you will not benefit much out of that. Okay. Tirtha Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhi Swatyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Paras samgati bodhi swadhyata om gati gati paragati parasamgati bodhi swadhyata. Om gati gati paragati parasamgati bodhi swadhyata om gati gati samgati bodhi swadhyata om gati gati paragati parasamgati bodhi swadhyata om gati gati paragati parasamgati bodhi swadhyata om gati gati paragati parasamgati bodhi swadhyata. Okay, we are now on step number 3, and number 2 and number 3, they are more similar. The point is that we just do the reverse, but in terms of reflection, we have to think just one by one by one. And the purpose of the step number 2 and number 3 is that within our mind, see that, usually we feel agitated, you think of other people, and sometimes you even become angry towards yourself. Now, instead of that, the focus of the anger must be directed towards the self-centered attitude, not the self, not to the self. So with these two things, with these two, the step number 2 and 3, then the feeling of unhappiness, repulsion towards the self-centered attitude must arise. Right? That should become stronger, stronger and stronger. That's the purpose. If that happens naturally, you feel others as very kind. Because who helps you to identify that the self-centered attitude, this is so vicious? It is others. Others help you to identify that. So more detail will come later. And after this, if possible, from the 8 verse mind training, there are some points which the Narimanji is asking, I think stanza number 6, and Shamji stanza number 5. from the 8 verses mind training, you were asking how to understand this stanza, which you pointed out yesterday. Right? So that image you pointed out 2 days ago. Yeah. Okay. So these are things that we have to deal with. Now the point is that it's very strange. As you become more and more angry towards the self-centered attitude, as a person you become happier and happier and happier. It's amazing. Right? And then say when you meet with other people, say something goes wrong, you can easily empathize with other people. You can easily empathize with other people, and then you will know how to tackle the situations very tactfully and very skillfully. Okay, so that is number 2 and number 3. So number 4 and number 5. Number 4 and number 5, these 2 are known as the practice of Tonglen. Number 4 and number 5, these 2 are known as practice of Tonglen, and they oftentimes Tonglen. Tonglen. Tong means to give your happiness. Give. Len is to take. Give your happiness and take the suffering. Tonglen. Okay, so Sumit and Vipin. Okay, and so the practice of Tonglen, step number 4 and 5. Step number 4 and 5 is very important, but say if you do the step number 4 and 5 exclusively, right? Oftentimes people suggest, oh, you're going through difficult times, practice Tonglen. This is what people may suggest. So okay, so this is that you have to be a little careful. Careful meaning that you can do practice Tonglen, but steps 1, 2, 3 are not to be missed. Not to be missed. You cannot don't do the Tonglen practice exclusively. You must incorporate step number 1, 2, 3. Without incorporating step 1, 2, 3, there's a danger. You go through. Any idea? Without doing step 1, 2, 3, you do Tonglen directly. That's the danger. What is the danger? Any idea?
Depression.
People go through burnout cases, right? Burnout cases. So this is where we need a tremendous skillfulness. Tremendous skillfulness. And the Buddha's teaching, one of the demarcating factor of the Buddha's teaching, feature of the Buddha's teaching is the skillfulness. Skillfulness, this is so important. Because I come across many people, and someone was going through mental anxiety problem, and this person, they sought the help of, say, the requested one the Rinpoche form some divination and asked for some pujas. Then the Rinpoche did the divination, and the puja was said. What puja? The puja was to do the 40 times Vajrachetika Sutra, the Damdul Sutra, 40 times. Person is physically so weak, person doesn't have energy. And this is the puja, and that too to be done by the person himself or herself. Right? And this person, blind faith. Oh, the Buddha said it. Then the person was doing it. Right? And I said, please don't do it. You can do it later, not now. You don't have the energy to do it. And the person said, oh, once I finish with this, then my problem will be over. This is the puja that came doing. Then I said, it will collapse. You'll collapse, don't do it. This will worsen the situation. And she did not believe in me. She said, this is the Rinpoche who said it. Fine, what do you do? Right? Then the next year, when I met a person, the person said, I tell you, now I become worse. Whether this what Rinpoche said is correct or not correct. I said that I told you already right from the beginning, right? One is rationality. What is not to be seen by rationality, then you can go for the blind faith. What is the way rationality works? Employ rationality, right? And I said that you collapsed. And then the person said, yes, I collapsed. Person said, I was doing it, and the person said that I collapsed. Then the person was hospitalized. I said, this is going to happen, I told you. Right? I told you. Okay, so the point is that we should be very realistic. And some people, they say, oh, you have depression problem, you have to do tolerant practice. Tolerant practice worsens the depression. Because you already go into depression and tolerant practice, right, may I take the suffering of others. It becomes worse. I'm already rich in suffering. Still have to take the suffering of others. The little happiness that I have, even that I have to give to others. Right? It makes you even more depressed. Right? So, again, the similar situation happened. Somebody invited me to give, say, 1 week course on psychology in a place. A person came to receive me at the airport. Right? Then, in the car from the airport, the person was asking me many questions. One was about the Tonglen. Then I said the same thing. With the Tonglen practice, you can do it, but skillfully. Skillfully, you must incorporate the first 3 steps. Tonglen is step 4 and 5. Without including step 1, 2, 3, it can be a disaster. It can make you go into burnout cases. And the person said, that's very true, it happened to me. Somebody suggested me to do that, some very prominent person suggested me to do Tonglen for my depression problem. And then I practiced, then finally I ended up in burnout. Right? Okay, so I said that, okay, tell me, it's common sense. It's a common sense. Oftentimes people go into blind faith. Right? Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism, Mahayana Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism is so rich of the logical reasoning and so forth. Still within that system, people follow blindly. This is a very unfortunate thing. Okay, just imagine, it's a common sense. Let's say, let's say that a child, right? A mother taking care of her own child and a nurse taking care of a child, not her child, and the 2 children, they are suffering from the same problem, right? And very severe problem, cannot eat food, and easily going into anger, anxiety, so forth, right? And needs attention whole 24 hours. Which of the 2, the mother or the nurse, will go into the burnout cases the faster? The mother or the nurse? The nurse. The nurse will go into burnout cases faster. Right? Amount of the energy the mother is giving, if the same energy given by the nurse, within 2 days the nurse will become sick. The mother will not become sick. Why?
There's a natural affection for the child.
For the mother, this is my child. You're getting it? Feeling of love and affection, this is there. Feeling of love and affection is there. So, with the step 1, 2, 3, they will help you to build love and affection towards others. Cherishing myself is harmful. Cherishing you is beneficial for me. You're getting it? Cherishing you is beneficial for me. So therefore, my mind flows towards you. This is feeling of the closeness. This feeling of closeness, with this, then you do the tolerant practice. It'll take you longer to go into burnout cases. It's extremely beneficial practice. And then later on, at a certain stage, at a certain good, let's say the developed stage, where saying the more you're able to do for others, right, more happy you feel. Not only happy you feel the gratitude. You feel the kindness of others even more. The more you're able to do, the more you feel the gratitude towards others. It is a beautiful practice. Whereas if you don't do step 1, 2, 3, just do step 4 and 5, you can easily end up into burnout cases. You getting it? Okay. So now the step number 4 and 5. For that matter, step 1, 2, 3. These 3 are so precious. Particularly reflecting on the merits of cherishing oneself, reflect on the merits of cherishing others. The more you think about these two, the more you will feel angry towards self-cherishing attitude or self-centered attitude, not to the self. You're getting it? Whereas with this, if you become angry towards the self, you're going wrong. The practice is not going the proper track. You will feel that this self is so important, but the self-centered attitude is evil. I should get rid of this. The more you'll feel angry towards the self-centered, this is a beautiful practice, amazing, beautiful practice. The more you feel angry towards the self-centered attitude, the more you want to get rid of the self-centered attitude. How will you get rid of self-centered attitude? Any idea? Just give me ideas. Just speak your mind. Not necessarily that there's hard and fast the answer.
When you focus on the negative becomes stronger.
No, what I'm saying is how to, now you have already, let's say, you have already realized you feel so angry towards the self-centered attitude. When you feel angry towards, for example, if I'm angry towards person A, I want to keep the person A as far away from me as possible. Likewise, when I feel angry with self-centered attitude, I want to get rid of this self-centered attitude to the best I can. How to get rid of this? Hey.
Keeping it far away.
How keep it far? Take it out and keep it far away? Practically, tell me, how am I going to keep it far away?
Don't think about it. Because
don't think about
the self-centered attitude.
But automatically we think.
Acknowledge you have the self-centered attitude and the anger.
I can feel very helpless about my self-centered
attitude. Did you get that? Okay. Before you give me the answer, anyone? Before you give me the answer, anyone who can repeat my question.
How to get rid of self-centered attitude?
As you become angry towards the self-centered attitude, how will you get rid of this self-centered attitude? Anyone? One answer.
By cherishing others.
Very good. By cherishing others? By cherishing others? By cherishing others. How to cherish others?
Look at their positive.
Okay, let's say, right? The thing is that the moment you feel that I'm going to a dire difficulties, challenges, morally going down, right? And then feeling so desperate, and suddenly the Niraji comes, right? Unconditionally, he is there to give the whatever I want, moral support, time, energy, there. The moment next time I see him, what is the feeling coming to me? Very pleasant feeling coming to you the moment I see. You getting it? Okay, this is because why I see him, very pleasant feeling comes to me. Why? Because the benefit that I received from this, my mind flows towards the source from which I got the benefit. You getting it? This is known as the pleasant feeling. Mind flows, there's a close feeling. And as the mind flows, what happens? The mind feels the ease. That ease is a pleasant feeling. So there's a pleasant feeling and the mind is feeling close. You getting it? Mind is feeling close and the pleasant feeling. Okay. With this, when you feel angry, for example, if there are two persons, right? If there are two who, say, there are two person A and person B, and if you don't go along too well with person A, what is your tendency? You go along with person B. This is the tendency, right? So, of the two choices, self-centered attitude and other cherishing, when you are fed up with the self-centered attitude, that tendency to go to other cherishing. You're getting it? This is human psyche, how the psyche works. And for the other cherishing, others must be involved there. Without others, other cherishing it's not possible. So the others become very important. So you feel the tremendous benefit of the others. Because of others, that I'm able to cherish others. Because I cherish others, I'm able to say no to self-centered attitude. Because I'm able to say no to self-centered attitude, my miseries, my tension, they are all got rid of. So finally, to get rid of my own suffering, others play a very important role. You're getting it? So automatically, you start cherishing others more. The more you see others, you feel as though like they are the source of my benefit. Right? They are the source of my benefit. Okay, say, I'm just creating a scenario, right? It may not be a true scenario, real life scenario. Let's say if there is a situation where every time you put your signature, you get 1 lakh rupees, right? Say 1 lakh rupees, right? Some people with one signature, billions of dollars are being turnover happens, right? Say 1 lakh rupees, and then say anytime you put the signature, you get 1 lakh rupees. Okay, so would you take a day off? Hey.
No.
Neither? Want to take a day off? No. Oh, Imbi? No. Oh, one signature gives you, huh?
To enjoy whatever I've got. I'll take 1 day to enjoy the previous lakhs which I've got. Then
That's
I'll
true.
continue.
That's true. That's wise, right? Okay, what about others? Conventionally speaking, right? Not under the Vajradhatu Center in that scenario. Conventionally speaking, so what's the situation, right? Okay, do you know the difference between the two shops? Government-run shops and the private shops. Do you know the difference? Do you know which shop is government-run, which shop is private? Do you know the difference? Huh?
Yeah.
How do you know the difference?
Well, the government one is not well maintained.
Okay. Oh, yes, that's one. Any other?
Quality.
Quality. Any other?
Cheap.
Cheap.
They have mentioned on the.
If not mentioned, still you can identify it very easily.
Yeah, okay.
Any idea?
No, they are not happy to receive the customer, government.
Okay. Okay, that's also true. But there's another one which is so prominent.
Customer care.
Huh? Customer care. Yes, this is not the same.
The profit in the government shop, the profit goes to the government, so the employees are not interested. In private run shop, all the profit comes.
No, for you, you don't see what the profit. You don't see that. You are just,
Oh yeah, I'm a customer.
just go there. You will see.
The workers in the government shop will not be there most of the time. The person in the private
Getting
shop will be there
somewhere.
for
Okay,
40
getting
times.
somewhere. Anyone?
Government shops are cheaper.
You work harder.
The workers are lazy.
The workers just get money.
Okay.
There is no
Okay.
incentive.
Do you agree with me? That, right? Okay, it's 7 o'clock. I need a toothpaste. There are two shops, right? You will not go to the government shop because it's not open. Private shop is already open. 6 a.m. already open, right? You will, without hesitation, you run there because government shop will open only at 9 o'clock. And 9 o'clock, first you go there, you will not get the item. First they will spend time to clean. Right? Wait please. Right? Clean. Whereas the private shop, at 6 o'clock you will get the item. Right? And then evening, at 7 o'clock, again you need something. Oh, knockout. The mosquito all out. Oh, I guess again, right? The mosquitoes there, right? All out. Oh, right? Right? 5 o'clock, don't go to government shop. It's already closed. Right? Quarter to the 5:15 already closed. Private shop will go till 11 o'clock. And if the government shop, if you say that, hey, no, open it, look at the private shop, they open at 6 o'clock. Open at 6 o'clock, stay till 11 o'clock, the person will collapse in 2 days. The private shop, they will not collapse. Right? If you say that, hey, open only at 9 o'clock, close directly, just close right at 5, right? Not after that, they'll collapse. Private shops. Do you see difference? So that, say, the sense of belonging mind, feeling of connected, feeling of closeness. You getting it? So therefore, the point is, the more you feel that self-centered attitude is the one which creates problem to me. Other cherished mind. So to get rid of this, you will go to the other cherished mind. To cherish others, others play a very important role. Only if others are there, you can practice other cherished mind. Because this is how you experience that. Like the experience which I shared with you. Say, in that retreat place, even the small thing, say, onion peel, it falls off. I dare not throw this away. I keep it with me. They are so precious. Everything is very precious for me because I get the opportunity to practice compassion. I need the opportunity to feel the joy, to see that these girls are happy. Right? Whereas in Delhi, I want to do it. But there's no, I can't do it. I feel I'm unfortunate. I'm really unfortunate. You're getting it? Although I want to practice this, I cannot do it because the cows are not there. It is only because of this that I can practice. When they are absent, I cannot practice that. So, you're getting it? So likewise, do you have your personal experiences where you want to help somebody, but there's nobody to be helped? Right? This is very important. If you feel that, then you will see that others are so precious. Others are so precious. Because of others, I can practice other cherished mind. The more I practice other cherished mind, this mind is exercised. This mind is exercised. The more it is exercised, it becomes very pliable. This other cherished mind becomes very pliable, then the Bodhichitta is very close. You're getting it? This is what we have to practice it. Okay. So with this, what we do is step number 4 and step number 5. Step number 4, taking the suffering of others with emphasis on compassion. Okay, so for that, what do you see distinction between step number 4 and 5? Step 4 is taking with emphasis on compassion. Step 5 with emphasis on loving kindness. What is the difference between compassion and loving kindness? They are not put in one category, they are put in separate categories, right? Compassion with step 4, loving kindness with step 5. So what difference do you see between these two things? What do you think is the difference?
Compassion.
Anyone?
Compassion. I'll go for point 5, practicing of giving a happiness with emphasis on love and kindness is probably because out of willingness, if you have to give it.
Okay, did you get my point? My question is.
Love and kindness.
Yes, point number 4, we did not mention the loving kindness, we mentioned compassion. Point number 5, we mentioned loving kindness, not compassion. So there must be a difference between the two. What's the difference?
Compassion will come, then you can practice the loving kindness.
Loving kindness, joy is in
Okay, so the first compassion comes followed by loving kindness. Siddhartha?
loving kindness, joy is also there.
Loving kindness, joy is also what?
If you practice loving kindness, joy will also come.
Okay, which means compassion, with compassion is a little pain, so get rid of that. Practice loving kindness. Sureji?
Compassion arises to alleviate the suffering. Loving kindness wishes the happiness.
Okay, so my question is, what's the difference between the two? Okay, did you follow what Sureji said? Okay, the Indrajit?
Compassion you feel for others, but loving kindness is an internal state.
Okay. Neither?
When we are being kind, we are giving. It's more on giving something. And compassion, we are trying to remove or take away.
Okay, remove happiness?
To remove the suffering.
Huh?
Something that they don't want. Remove the suffering.
Okay, so the compassion is to remove, and
remove the unwanted.
Loving kindness is to
give the wanted.
To give. So then the give and remove, then it becomes nullified. Right?
No, it's not.
You give and again you remove it.
No, I'm giving
then,
happiness.
Okay,
giving
focus.
what you desire. Yes.
Don't focus. Don't forget the focus. Right? Give, and remove. That is not a focus. Focus is on
giving happiness.
What to give, what to remove. You're getting it? Always the focus. the focus. So when we talk, generally speaking, when we talk, the same, generally speaking, either how smart the person is or how much trained is the person, you can easily see that. How the person talks, from there, articulation happens. When articulation happens, the clarity of the thought is happening. You're getting it? So this is what we can train, we can learn. For example, what is compassion? The difference between compassion and loving kindness. So if you say giving and removing, then there was a point. You give and then you remove. Right? You remove and then you give. What's the point? In the first place, why do you have to remove it if you have to give it? So that is not the focus. The focus is on what to give and what to remove. These two are different. So the focus is on where there is compassion, where there is happiness missing, you give happiness. Where there is suffering, you remove the suffering. So the suffering and happiness. Right? Suffering, happiness. Loving kindness focuses on the happiness. Compassion focuses on the suffering. With the suffering, what? To give suffering? No, to remove suffering. So in the mornings, when we practice the four immeasurables, right? Four immeasurables. So we are expected to focus on the in what way the four immeasurables differ. Loving kindness, it wishes others to have happiness. As Suryaji said, compassion wishes others to be freed from suffering. You getting it? Okay, this is the focus. So with this in mind, step number 4 is, say, taking the suffering for others with emphasis on compassion. Step number 5 is giving your happiness to others with emphasis on loving kindness. Okay, so there are some instructions.
You forgot to take.
Thank you. Some instructions, you may see slight variations in the instructions. In some, loving kindness first, followed by compassion. Whereas others, compassion first, followed by the loving kindness. And it's not that one is correct and others wrong, both are correct. Don't forget it. And some people may be too particular. If that person is too particular, follow that. Right? In actuality, there's no difference. Right? The thing is that, say, you practice compassion first, followed by the loving kindness all the time, and very sincerely, very effectively. And I practice loving kindness first, the compassion later, very sincerely, very effectively, born with genuine bodhicitta. The purpose is genuine bodhicitta. You getting it? So, but some people may be so precise. No, compassion must go first. Loving kindness must go first. If you say, if it must, then I'll do it as you say. Right? There's no difference actually. In reality, there's no difference. Right?
Does compassion come first because we have experienced the same suffering? Is it that way?
Okay. So why I'm saying this is that in the very standard text, both are mentioned. You getting it? For example, the four immeasurables, generally speaking, for the four immeasurables, loving kindness is said first. And in the practice of Tonglen, particularly with the 9 steps, the compassion part is said first. And in actuality, there's no difference. We are deprived of suffering, no, deprived of happiness, and we are so rich of suffering. Both are there with us. Deprived of happiness and rich of happiness. You do one thing, whatever. Right? There's no difference. Okay. So with this in mind, now, say in the actual practice, taking the suffering for others with emphasis on compassion, what we should be doing is that as we inhale, so these two practices in the word mind transformation practice, transforming the mind practice. So we deliberately added two mind, the transforming the mind practices, 7-fold mind training and 8 verse mind training. We added both. Here in this book, both are there. So there are so many, whole genre is there. Whole genre is there. on the mind training practice, right? They're very powerful. In Tibet, and nowadays, less number of people, it's not becoming so popular nowadays, very unfortunate. Whereas in Tibet, particularly the Kadamba practitioners, it was very popular amongst the practitioners. They just practice this, the compassion, loving kindness, just focus on that practice. Amazing. They emphasize so much. There's so much of details are there in the practice. Okay. So, what we do is that, say, as we breathe in, imagine that as you breathe in, imagine that you are sucking the air through your left nostril. And as we do that, not just the air, right, through your nostril, what is happening through your left nostril, and then you can imagine, say that you can do it in as the great details as you like. Say the suffering that you are taking from others, you can think of that. Say one, suffering is the three kinds. What are the three kinds of suffering? Manifest suffering, suffering change, pervasive conditioned suffering. Three kinds of suffering? Okay. How many of you have not heard about these three kinds of suffering? Raise your hands. Okay. So for that, it'll be good if during the group discussion, you can discuss a little bit about these three. This is very important, and I'll also quickly share with you here. There are three kinds of suffering. They vary in subtlety. They differ in subtlety. What's the first one? Manifest suffering, or technically it is known as suffering of suffering. Suffering, manifest suffering, evident suffering, they all mean the same. The first one. The second one is suffering of change. The second one is known as suffering of change. And suffering of change is much more subtle than the first one. And what is the third one? Pervasive conditioned suffering. That is the subtlest. If we really want to achieve, attain, or acquire the renunciation, you must identify all the three, and particularly the third one, pervasive conditioned suffering. Without identifying this, we cannot possibly have a genuine renunciation. Right? Okay. So, what's the first one? What's the first suffering? Suffering, or the manifest suffering, or the evident suffering. Is any suffering that we can think of which everybody can easily identify as suffering. Any suffering which anybody can identify as suffering is known as manifest suffering. You getting it? For example, headache, sickness, aging, death, tension, stress, depression, all these fall under the manifest suffering or the suffering of suffering, the first one. And to reflect on this is very important. Although finally we have to see the problems of the third level of suffering, but we must reflect on the first one. The more we reflect on the first one, the more we feel the demerit of the third one. Right? Okay. What's the second one?
Suffering of change.
Suffering of change. Okay. Is there anyone who would like to give me an example of suffering change?
Shifting from one city to another city that you don't like.
Okay. For example?
For example, shifting from living in Pune to living in Delhi.
That's really not a good idea. Huh? Okay, let's say shifting from
Parental divorce.
Divorce is acute pain, right? This is something which everybody will identify as suffering. Okay, say thinking that white hair. Okay, who likes white hair? Sure.
I don't
Suppose
die.
it is winter and you like the weather.
Mat with the snow.
Okay, it's a winter.
And then it changes, so we don't like it.
Okay. Did you understand what I said? What I said before? Articulation. I said, give me an example of a suffering change. Don't be too lengthy. If it be too lengthy, then I'll get confused.
When there is a sudden change in your life,
Change in your life. Change in the life from
conditions.
the change in the life from, let's say, the change in the age, change in the place, right? Is this a suffering change? Is this suffering change? Is this what you're saying?
No, the material conditions.
No.
Looking forward to a good meal at a very expensive restaurant.
Okay, looking forward to good meal at a
Very
expensive restaurant. Okay. Why do you call this suffering change? I agree with you. Not only I agree with you, I agree with you fully, but I want the reason.
Because it starts off well, the meal. Once when you start feeling satiated, that very meal becomes
Okay,
a bad experience.
Surya, you have to, say, when you give an example, the example that you gave is the emphasis on, not the meal, emphasis on the looking forward. Looking forward means, are you met with the food or not yet?
Okay, a meal, eating.
Met with the food or not yet?
Not yet.
When you are looking forward, not yet. And when you say how, then you are giving the actual meeting with the food. Right? This is different.
Right.
So, example that you should give be very clear. Either say when you're looking forward, this is also suffering change. When you actually meet with the food, this is also suffering change. Both are suffering change. And how? This is my question. Right? Okay.
Retirement after active working life.
Okay, retirement after active working life.
Suffering of change.
Why?
You had a very active working life and now you have nothing to do. Like you feel, lost, like, oh, nothing to do.
Okay, so you feel lost.
Momentarily.
Okay, you feel lost. Is this something people identify as suffering or not?
Some people would say it's fantastic.
No, feeling of loss. No, this is what the Sureshi said, you feel the loss. Is that fantastic? No, feeling of loss.
He's only saying feeling of loss.
Right? Oh, now I don't have to work, right? This is one thing, but the Sureshi didn't say this. Said that the moment you don't work, then you feel lost. And then you say, it's fantastic. How can feeling lost be fantastic? Right? Okay, how is that suffering? How is that suffering change? This is something which everybody will say that this is terrible. Feeling of loss is terrible, right? Everybody identify that as suffering, that is manifest suffering.
Going back to Surya's, a good meal begins with great pleasure, but it's like a hook, it's like a bait, it's a trap.
How?
After some time, that pleasure is very short-lived and it palls and becomes suffering. Because too much of a good meal, then the second morsel, the third morsel starts feeling worse and worse and worse, not as pleasurable as the first.
Okay. First one is pleasurable.
Yes.
Okay. First one,
like
and you have the first one and then stop it. That's fine, right?
You don't realize that bait.
No, many people can do it. Many people, they're amazing. Many people, they are amazing, right? Many people, no, Ilian, you got the correct answer, but I want your confidence, right? Many people say usually drinking alcohol was a problem.
Too much.
Drinking alcohol was a problem, you'll end up in the ditch. But not all end up in the ditch. Some people, they take the first pack and then control. Right? Likewise, you take the first morsel, very delicious. Second one is not so morsel, not so delicious, stop.
But the attraction to it is the suffering.
Attraction, but the food is not suffering.
Food is not suffering.
Yes.
Right? The joy is not suffering. Attraction is suffering. Joy is not suffering. Huh?
It is.
How?
The suffering of change is when your feeling towards the same object changes over time.
Okay, so if you don't overdo it to just one time, then it's fine.
Yeah, I guess.
Then it's not suffering
No,
change.
like if I'm with someone all the time, I like that person so much, and then suddenly slowly I get bored and sick of that person.
Okay.
I say bored.
Okay, that's very complicated. Okay, let's not bring this up here. Okay, we can.
It is something like when you get something that you want, but you cannot actually hold on to for a very long time.
Okay, first we need to get some clue, and then you give me the answer, right? Vipinji, I'll give you the clue. The clue is already given by the Surya and Elaine. Both of them give the clue that all mundane happiness fall under the category of suffering of change. That is the perfect answer. All mundane happiness. All the mundane people, what the mundane people consider as happiness is actually suffering change. This is the answer. Now the question is why it is suffering? Suffering change. One, why it is suffering. Number two, why it is known as suffering change. Why the element of change is there. These two things. In the first place, why it is suffering? What we consider to have, for example, you have the chocolate federal, what is that? Truffle, chocolate, truffle, cake, right? First bite. That's happy, right? That's happiness.